guys, and welcome back to Mummy Cooks Homemade. I'm now going to introduce the bread series. There will be 2 loaves per episode. So this first one is maple pecan loaf. So this loaf here makes 2 1-pound loaves. Okay, don't be tempted to chuck it all into one giant pan. Please do make the 1-pound loaves. So you need 350 grams of wholemeal bread flour, another 350 grams strong white bread flour, so it's a mixture of the two. So this uses 2 favourite American ingredients to make this bread really rich, but it's not very sweet, surprisingly, and you will see why I mentioned that when I come to the maple. So maple and maple syrup and the pecans, or I traded them out in this. That is 2 things in the States that they really love. So I'm adding there 2 teaspoons of salt, and I put it to one side of the pan. Now I'm using fast action yeast, okay? So you want 7 grams. Should you choose to use fresh yeast, it's 15 grams. And you'll put it to the opposite side from where the salt is. I will write this down. I've got a mixture there of pecans and walnuts because that's what I chose to have. And it's 200 grams of pecans if you want to stick to the recipe. So maple syrup is 150 grams. So it's quite a lot. And you would think that it'd be super sweet, but it isn't. Not at all. I will put this recipe underneath, so don't worry about writing it all down. And you've got 375 mils of tepid water. And it's so easy. That's it. That is it. All you've got to do now is use the dough cycle on your bread machine. If you're not using a bread machine, you can use the dough hook on a stand mixer. You can do it by hand. It's entirely up to you, but you'll need, if you do it by hand, need it for a good 10 minutes. I always use the dough cycle. There's no way my arms can do this. And that is what it came out like. So I was happy with that. And it was a cold day in that kitchen as well. So when it's a cold day, I always put a tea towel across the top of mine. I tell you, I use my tea towels to cover everything. But I put a tea towel across the top of mine, and it helps keep the warmth in when it's on the, what do you call it? The rising part of the setting in the bread machine. Good God, I've got a brain fart this morning. So anyway, all I'm going to do, I should have weighed this, but I was being lazy. You want to split it equally. Equally. Not like I do. Not that it affected the taste any, but I didn't split it equally. You can see one side's fatter than the other. And you want to put 1 into each sprayed tin. You can flour it too, if that's what you choose to do. I've sprayed mine with oil. If you knead it by hand, you will need to, after the 10 minutes, you'll need to cover it with cling film and leave it to rise in a warm place for a good hour and a half until it's doubled in size. So this is now going to go for a second rise. You're just going to cover them in 45 to 60 minutes to rise again. And once that time's nearly up, you're going to preheat your oven to gas 6 Bake the loaves uncovered for 30 to 35 minutes until they're good golden brown colour. They should sound hollow when you tap them underneath. You've got about 4 days to eat this, and it can be frozen. This buttered was beautiful. Now you can see when I shove it in the camera's face, all the nuts and stuff. So that loaf turned out really really well. I suppose if you like cheese, it'd be nice with a slice of cheese on top of that. But I don't eat cheese that way. I can only eat it melted, guys. So that's the maple pecan loaf, and it made 2 1-pound loaves. I gave one to the mother-in-law. I sliced it, bagged it, and I think she froze it. I will put the entire recipe below. So just go to the more section. It's no longer the description, is it? So this is an old-fashioned cottage loaf. So you're going to start with 300 mils of water. I don't think you get these in America. I may be wrong. 25 grams of butter at room temperature. Margarine I used. But they've been made in England for at least 200 years. So you want 500 grams plus 1 teaspoon of strong white bread flour. You can see my sack of it there. Very little goes into this, but it is so soft. So nice. You want 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Always make sure that your salt is on the opposite side to your yeast. So I put sugar in, and that was 1 tablespoon. And then I just ignored exactly what I just said. It's on top of the... Well, it worked perfectly, so it must have landed on top of the sugar. And then 1.25 teaspoon of fast action dried yeast. Whip it on that dough setting, which is number 8 for me, and it's for 1.5 hours, and it does the rise in there. I never ever cook my bread in the bread machine. Again, you can do this by hand, and you can do it with a mixer as well at the dough hook. This was such a soft, lovely dough. Look at that. Oh. So, you're going to split this into 2 balls, but you want one larger than the other. Yeah, there's Dog, bless her. You got a little cameo, Sala. She's right next to me. So yeah, you want them in ball shapes. I am absolutely useless with bread, guys. I'm no good at all this shaping rubbish. That was the best I could do. I'm no bread expert. So you can see I've got 1 larger one and 1 smaller one. And I'm going to leave them to rise for about 30 minutes covered. So they've had that. So you want to score, well, cut into the big one in the centre across. Then you're going to take the small one as carefully as you can. Try to keep that shape. Plop it on top. Trying to move it over, look. Don't worry, guys, it all works out in the end. And then take a spoon, because this is what gives you that cottage loaf. And you push it right down to the bottom so you can feel the pan underneath. Might seem an odd thing to do, but that is what cottage loaf does. So I did miss a little bit. I Pop this into the oven on gas 6. After this stage, I let it go for another 30 minutes covered up. Then I popped it straight into the oven, gas mark 6, 200°C for 35 to 40 minutes. And that was that. Took it out, and then what you see is the final loaf, and that's what it comes out like. So yeah, that's the first video for my breads. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next one.